Hi, seniors. Here we are, distance learning day 2. What I'd like you guys to do for the next 2 days really stems from conversations that I had at the NCTE meeting in Baltimore this November, and from conversations that I've had with students, especially students who are freshmen at the University of Washington, and I know a lot of you guys are headed in that direction. This advice, though, is ubiquitous from what I understand amongst colleges around the nation. And so one of the things that they really want you guys to have practice doing is not just writing 5-paragraph essays. I know you've been hearing about that, but metacognitively reflecting on the writing process, thinking about the way you think about what structures that support writing are relevant to you and which ones you don't find as useful. Being able to reflect on the way that you use the writing process is something that's going to be incredibly valuable to you next year. Students in freshman English courses report that not only do they kind of have to write a response to some article, etc., but then they have to reflect on the writing process in like a 1 to 2 page response for each time they do a content piece. And so I think that's really interesting. Research shows that if you're able to do that, then you're far more able to use those processes in an improvisational way based on varied audiences and purposes. So what I want you to appreciate is that over the course of the next 2 days, 2 25-minute essential learning periods, you're going to be thinking about the following prompt. So with the objective of knowing yourself better as a writer. In 2 pages, you are going to describe the evolution of your ability to write over the course of your high school career. You might choose to take this really formally academically. You might begin with like a things fall apart paper, and then you might end with like Virginia Woolf. However, you may go a completely different route. And you may, for example, think about, I don't know, how you've switched from handwriting to computer. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could do this. Maybe you originally began, looking for a particular type of thing when you edited, and then you've grown in a way that is exciting and interesting. So ultimately, the constraints of your writing assignment, seniors, and this is going to be due for you on Wednesday at midnight, 20 points to Turnitin.com, is a 2-page response. It can be single or double spaced, completely up to you, answering the prompt, how have you changed and evolved as a writer over the course of your high school career? Think about all the different phases of the writing process: pre-writing, researching, drafting, editing, revising, and then publishing. Editing is when you kind of change for little words, punctuation, grammar, and revising is when you're moving about ideas. Oftentimes revising comes first, and then ultimately publishing, considering who receives your writing. Have you began publishing for a broader audience since you've been in high school or not? So ultimately, seniors, here we are. Identity right. We are considering who we are as writers, and I want you to write probably in the first person. Might be thesis driven, might not. You do have an opportunity to be creative, but to what extent have you grown as a writer in high school? Please do reference specific writing assignments over time as you create your work. Wednesday at midnight, people. Thanks, y'all. Looking forward to it.